I wasn't supposed to teach you this young secret, but it's time. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. There are truths about the human mind so powerful that most people aren't ready to face them, but you are. In today's video, I wasn't supposed to teach you this Jung secret, but it's time. We'll uncover one of Jung's most transformative insights, a principle that can reshape how you see yourself, others, and the invisible patterns guiding your life. This isn't theory. It's spiritual wisdom for real transformation and awakening. As you listen, reflect on how these truths show up in your daily life. Have you ever noticed the same lessons repeating themselves in different forms? Comment below your thoughts. Your reflection might awaken someone else's journey. 1. The hidden manual of human nature. Most people move through life unaware of the intricate web of forces shaping human behavior. They respond to emotions, chase validation, and repeat patterns without understanding the silent rules that govern them. Centuries ago, Niccolò Machiavelli dared to reveal these hidden laws, truths about power, emotion, and control so raw that society branded them as evil. Yet, his teachings were never about corruption. They were about clarity. He unveiled the mirror of humanity, showing that behind every act of kindness, betrayal, or ambition lies an instinctive struggle for survival. And while religion and culture have taught us to see purity as separate from strategy, Machiavelli's wisdom reminds us that awareness itself is sacred. It's not darkness that blinds us, but ignorance. Only through self-knowledge, a form of spirituality and spiritual awakening, can we rise above the unconscious machinery of human behavior. To see the truth of how people operate is not to lose faith in them. It is to finally understand them. Machiavelli understood that emotions govern far more decisions than logic ever could. We are not rational creatures pretending to be emotional. We are emotional beings, occasionally touched by reason. Recognizing this is not cynicism. It is liberation. It allows you to stop personalizing others' choices, to see manipulation for what it truly is, fear in disguise. When you realize that people often act from wounds, insecurity, and survival instincts, you no longer take betrayal or rejection as reflections of your worth. You learn to respond with balance, not bitterness. This is the essence of spiritual wisdom: to see clearly, without judgment, and to remain anchored in self-awareness, no matter what storms arise around you. Carl Jung expanded this understanding by revealing that the external world is a mirror of our inner state. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. When you observe human nature through this lens, you begin to see the divine intelligence behind every interaction. Each conflict, each disappointment becomes a lesson in disguise, an invitation to confront your own shadow. The one who triggers you is not your enemy, but your teacher. The one who betrays you awakens discernment. The one who doubts you strengthens your faith. Spiritual awakening is not about avoiding the chaos of humanity. It's about mastering your inner response to it. You become less reactive, more conscious, more aligned with your higher self. When you combine Machiavelli's realism with Jung's depth psychology, a powerful synthesis emerges. Self-awareness becomes the highest form of power. Once you understand the motives behind others' actions, you also understand your own. You see how fear seeks control, how desire hides vulnerability, and how silence can become strength. This awareness shifts you from being controlled by your emotions to mastering them. It turns chaos into clarity, reaction into intention, and pain into purpose. True spirituality isn't about transcending the human experience. It's about transforming it through understanding. You become both the observer and the participant in life's grand theater, acting not from ignorance, but from insight. And when that moment of awakening arrives, nothing can shake you. You realize that manipulation loses its grip when you see through it. Power games dissolve when you no longer need validation. The hidden manual of human nature stops being a secret. It becomes the language you fluently speak. You begin to live with quiet strength, guided not by illusion, but by awareness. Compassion flows naturally because you no longer expect perfection from the imperfect. You see humanity as a tapestry woven from both shadow and light, and in that recognition, you find peace. This is the true essence of spiritual awakening, to awaken not above the world, but within it, walking with wisdom, seeing truth, and staying grounded in the light of understanding. Comment below, I choose to awaken, if you're ready to uncover the hidden manual of human nature and step into a deeper level of spiritual wisdom. 2. People are emotional, not rational. People are emotional, not rational. And this truth lies at the heart of human behavior. Most of what we call decision-making is simply emotional reaction wrapped in logic after the fact. As Machiavelli wrote, men judge more by the eye than by the hand. People believe what looks right, what feels good, what gives them comfort or status. The mind follows the body's chemistry, the racing heartbeat, the sense of warmth, the subtle intuition, and then invents reasons to justify it. You see this every day. Someone buys a luxury brand, not because it's better, but because it makes them feel powerful. Someone stays in a relationship, not because it's right, but because being alone terrifies them. Another person changes their opinion simply because a confident voice said the same words they once ignored. This is not a weakness, it's design. Carl Jung saw that the unconscious drives most of our actions long before the conscious mind interferes. Your emotions are ancient signals, the language of your soul, and they shape how you interpret every face, tone, and situation around you. Spirituality and spiritual development begin when you stop pretending that logic rules your life and start noticing the waves beneath it. Before every decision, there's a feeling: curiosity, fear, desire, or pride. Once you learn to read these feelings instead of denying them, you become a master of your own energy instead of a slave to it. Modern society knows this secret well. Advertisements use color and rhythm to bypass your mind and speak directly to your subconscious. Politicians time their speeches to catch you in emotional fatigue. Social media thrives on dopamine, rewarding outrage and validation over truth. Every image, sound, and message is crafted to trigger emotion first and reason later. Yet once you see the pattern, you become immune to it. You begin to feel before reacting, breathe before judging, and sense the motive beneath the mask. Ask yourself, why do certain people's silence disturb you, while others' opinions mean nothing? Why does a compliment feel like oxygen, and a criticism sting like a wound? These are not random. They are mirrors reflecting the places where your emotional body still seeks healing. True spiritual development is learning to sit with that discomfort without running from it. It's realizing that calm awareness holds more power than frantic reaction. When you start living from this awareness, you no longer chase approval or validation. You move with intention, choosing responses that align with your higher self rather than your temporary emotion. You influence not through manipulation, but through presence, through the quiet confidence that others can feel but cannot explain. Spirituality, then, becomes the art of energy mastery, feeling deeply but choosing wisely, caring fully but staying centered, seeing appearances but not being blinded by them. In a world driven by emotion, the one who understands emotion rules their own destiny. 3. Loyalty must be earned, not assumed. Loyalty must be earned, not assumed, because blind loyalty is not a virtue, but a weakness disguised as devotion. When you give your loyalty without discernment, you are not being kind. You are surrendering your power. True loyalty, as Carl Jung's spiritual wisdom teaches, is never about sentiment or obligation. It is about energetic reciprocity. You cannot remain loyal to someone who continually drains your spirit or fails to honor your presence. Loyalty should be an exchange of mutual respect, trust, and strength, a reflection of two souls walking in alignment, not one person carrying the weight of another's indifference. Powerful and awakened minds understand that loyalty is strategic, not emotional. It serves truth, not illusion. The moment loyalty becomes one-sided, it transforms from a noble act into a chain that binds your growth. Jung believed that misplaced loyalty often comes from an unconscious desire to be loved or validated. Many people remain loyal to pain because they mistake endurance for virtue. They tolerate betrayal and disrespect under the illusion of being the good one. But spiritual awakening teaches that loyalty to others means nothing if it requires disloyalty to yourself. As Jung once said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. This means if you keep being loyal to those who dishonor you, it's not fate, it's your unhealed shadow repeating itself. When loyalty is not returned, the wise withdraw it without guilt. This is not cruelty, it is clarity. You are not abandoning anyone. You are honoring the truth. Real loyalty grows from mutual strength, not need. It cannot survive where one takes and the other constantly gives. The awakened soul understands that staying loyal to people who disrespect your energy is like pouring light into a black hole. It disappears, leaving you empty. That is why Carl Jung emphasized individuation, the process of becoming whole within yourself. When you no longer seek validation through loyalty, you begin to attract relationships rooted in equality and respect. Loyalty then becomes something sacred, not a burden, but a choice made by two evolved souls who see each other's light and protect it. So when you sense that your loyalty is being taken for granted, listen to your intuition. Do not be afraid to walk away from what no longer values your presence. Loyalty should never cost your peace. Stay loyal to your higher self, to the truth that keeps you grounded and strong. Because the moment you choose self-loyalty over emotional attachment, you no longer depend on others to complete you, you become whole. And in that wholeness, every connection you build reflects mutual power, respect, and spiritual wisdom. Have you ever tested who truly deserves your loyalty? If you've learned this lesson the hard way, share your story in the comments so others can grow from it too. If you're just beginning to guard your loyalty wisely, comment below. I choose my loyalty with wisdom. And let this be your declaration of strength and self-respect. 4. Reputation is about respect, not being liked. Reputation is not about being liked. It's about being respected. In a world where many people trade authenticity for acceptance, real power comes from staying grounded in your truth. Reputation is the reflection of how others perceive you, and perception often becomes reality. People don't respond to your intentions. They respond to the energy you project. That's why reputation is not something you leave to chance. It's something you shape with integrity, purpose, and awareness. Authenticity doesn't mean revealing every detail of your life. It means showing only what aligns with your purpose. You can be real without being transparent to the point of vulnerability. Not everyone deserves access to your inner world. When you learn to protect your private space, you begin to understand that your energy is sacred. You are not hiding. You are honoring your spirit. Authenticity is not about exposure, but alignment. It's choosing to share from strength, not from a need for validation. Oversharing often comes from insecurity, while true authenticity is rooted in confidence and spiritual awakening. When you share something personal, it should uplift others, not deplete you. Your silence can be powerful when used with intention. It creates mystery, depth, and self-respect. People are drawn not to what they can fully see, but to what they can feel. Mystery invites curiosity, and curiosity builds respect. Consistency, too, is a pillar of reputation. When your actions, words, and energy align over time, people begin to trust you. Respect is earned through reliability. You don't have to please everyone. You simply need to be congruent. A spiritually awakened person does not shift with every opinion. They remain steady because they know who they are. That stability commands quiet respect. Strategic vulnerability is another key. It's not about hiding your scars. It's about revealing them with intention. When you share from a healed place, your story becomes a source of spiritual wisdom. You turn pain into purpose and create a reputation built on growth, not pity. As Carl Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Awareness transforms weakness into strength, and your energy begins to speak louder than your words. Respect will always outweigh approval. Approval can be bought with compliance, but respect must be earned through boundaries, courage, and inner strength. When you stop seeking to be liked, you start radiating quiet authority. People may not always agree with you, but they will recognize your depth. This is the essence of spirituality, living in truth rather than performing for acceptance. Your reputation, when built on integrity and self-awareness, becomes your silent message to the world. It says, I know who I am. I walk with intention. I live in alignment. You don't need to prove yourself when your energy already speaks volumes. Respect is not demanded, it's inspired. And that inspiration is the natural result of a soul that has awakened to its own worth. Do you agree that true respect matters more than being liked? If you do, stand firm in your truth and comment below. I choose respect over approval. 5. Conflict is inevitable. Prepare for it. Machiavelli once said, there is no avoiding war. It can only be postponed to the advantage of others. His words reveal a timeless truth about human nature and the journey of spiritual development. Conflict is inevitable. Life, by its very nature, will test you. People will challenge you, circumstances will push you, and your own mind will often become your greatest battlefield. The wise do not seek conflict, but they are never unprepared for it. They understand that avoidance is weakness disguised as peace. True spirituality is not about escaping challenges, but learning to face them with calm awareness and unwavering strength. Every conflict, whether emotional, mental, or physical, is a mirror that reflects where you are still unhealed. It reveals the parts of you that crave control, validation, or fear loss. When you understand this, conflict becomes not an obstacle, but a teacher guiding your spiritual awakening. Preparation is the silent art that makes you powerful without ever needing to prove it. You prepare not because you expect the worst, but because you respect yourself enough to stay ready. You sharpen your mind through study, your emotions through mindfulness, your body through discipline, and your spirit through stillness. When you cultivate inner strength in all these areas, skill, finances, health, and mindset, you create an invisible shield that commands respect without confrontation. You become the person who no longer reacts to chaos because your peace is no longer dependent on circumstances. That is the essence of spirituality, a calm so deep that even storms bow before it. Conflict, when met with awareness, becomes an opportunity for transformation. It is in the heat of tension that your patience is refined, in the presence of opposition that your truth is tested, and in moments of pressure that your faith either collapses or crystallizes. The goal is not to win every battle, but to master yourself so completely that conflict can no longer control your emotions. The true warrior in spiritual development doesn't fight with swords or words, but with clarity, restraint, and wisdom. They know when to act and when to stay silent. They understand that sometimes the most powerful move is stillness, because silence unnerves those who depend on reaction to maintain power. When you live prepared, you don't have to fear life's unpredictability. You walk with quiet confidence because your foundation is strong, built on knowledge, awareness, and emotional stability. The person who is grounded in their inner power doesn't need to shout, prove, or defend. Their energy speaks louder than their words. In spirituality, this is what it means to be untouchable. Not invincible in the physical sense, but untouchable in spirit. When your peace cannot be disturbed, you have mastered one of life's greatest lessons, that conflict may be inevitable, but suffering is a choice. And the one who is truly prepared no longer fears the battle, for they have already won it within. 6. Nice is not the same as good. People confuse being nice with being good, but as Carl Jung revealed through his spiritual wisdom, niceness often hides fear, while goodness reflects true moral strength. Niceness seeks approval. It bends under pressure, trying to be everything for everyone, afraid of rejection or judgment. But goodness doesn't need to please. It stands rooted in truth, even when it's uncomfortable. A nice man wants to be liked, but a good man chooses to do what's right, even if it costs him admiration. Niceness tries to smooth over tension. Goodness confronts it with honesty. Niceness says yes to avoid conflict. Goodness says no to protect integrity. Niceness lives on the surface, built from fear of disapproval, while goodness rises from the depth of the soul. Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. And to become that person, You must stop performing for acceptance and start embodying authenticity. True spiritual awakening begins when you understand that kindness without boundaries isn't virtue, it's self-betrayal. When your kindness lacks strength, it turns into silent resentment, the invisible poison that drains your energy and dignity. Weak niceness is a mask that repels because it feels insincere. Strong goodness attracts because it radiates truth. People sense when you are acting out of fear versus when you are acting out of integrity. The man who is merely nice hopes to be noticed, while the man who is truly good commands respect without demanding it. Niceness needs external validation. Goodness creates its own light from within. Carl Jung called this process the integration of the shadow, the moment you stop denying the assertive, powerful side of yourself that society has taught you to suppress. To be whole, you must balance softness with strength, compassion with clarity, forgiveness with discernment. You cannot truly love others if you constantly betray yourself. You cannot be good without learning to say no, to draw lines, to protect what's sacred inside you. The world doesn't need people who smile to be accepted. It needs souls who stand firm in truth and love, who embody peace not by avoiding conflict, but by mastering it. As Jung said, no tree can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell. Real goodness isn't fragile. It is forged through the tension of opposites, where your light and darkness learn to coexist in harmony. Being nice might make you liked for a moment, but being good makes you trusted for a lifetime. When you combine empathy with authority and love with wisdom, you stop being a people pleaser and start becoming a soul leader. Goodness is not about being agreeable. It's about being whole, honest, and grounded. Weak niceness repels because it's empty. Strong goodness attracts because it's real. True power lies not in constant compliance, but in conscious choice, where your actions align with both heart and truth. That is the essence of spiritual wisdom. Learning that your soul's light shines brightest when guided by strength, integrity, and love. Leave your likes and subscribe to our channel, and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming lessons in spiritual wisdom and awakening. Type in the comments, "I choose to be good, not just nice," to affirm your power to live with authenticity and strength. 7. Power through awareness. Understanding human nature, emotion, loyalty, perception, and conflict doesn't make you manipulative. It makes you powerful beyond measure. It means you've begun to see the invisible threads that guide every interaction, the subtle energies behind every word and gesture. As Carl Jung taught, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. Most people are moved by invisible forces of fear, desire, guilt, approval, without realizing they are being controlled by them. But when you awaken, when your spirituality sharpens into awareness, you no longer move unconsciously through life's hidden game. You see the play beneath the performance, and awareness becomes your armor. Every person is engaged in a silent negotiation of perception. They project, defend, pretend, and perform, believing they are in control, while their shadows pull the strings. To understand this is not to manipulate, but to liberate yourself from illusion. You stop reacting to the masks others wear, because you recognize they're just expressions of unmet needs and hidden fears. Spiritual awakening begins when you stop playing unconsciously and start seeing consciously. You no longer seek validation in noise. Instead, you listen for truth in silence. You realize that emotion is not your enemy. It's energy asking to be understood. Loyalty is not servitude. It's alignment of values. Conflict is not chaos. It's revelation. Through awareness, you transform every situation into a mirror reflecting your own consciousness. Ignorance breeds reaction, but awareness breeds mastery. When you awaken, every disappointment becomes a doorway to understanding. Every betrayal becomes a mirror of your boundaries. Every emotion becomes a teacher. Jung believed that everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. This is the essence of spirituality, not to escape emotion, but to transmute it. You begin to see how your judgments were projections, how your pain was a signal of growth, and how your struggles were sculpting your strength. Awareness is not detachment. It is sacred clarity. It's when your vision pierces through confusion, when your energy no longer leaks into overreaction, and when your heart can observe pain without losing compassion. As awareness deepens, you become both participant and observer in your own story. You start to sense the hidden choreography of life, the way every challenge refines your perception. Every emotion expands your wisdom. Every loss strengthens your spirit. In spirituality, awareness is not about knowing more, but seeing more clearly. The ignorant chase control, but the awakened cultivate presence. Power through awareness means you no longer fight reality. You flow with it, interpret it, and transcend it. You realize that human behavior is not random. It's symbolic, psychological, energetic. The more you understand it, the less it can hurt you. Awareness doesn't make you manipulative. It makes you unbreakable. Because when you see through illusion, nothing external can hold power over your inner peace. To affirm your dedication to living with conscious awareness, declare it now. Comment below. I choose awareness over illusion to honor your spiritual growth and inspire others to awaken their own inner power. 8. Final message: never be ignored. The greatest lesson you can take from Jungian and Machiavellian insight is this: it is far better to be feared than loved, but above all else, never be ignored. This principle is not about control over others, but mastery over perception, energy, and inner awareness. In the path of spirituality and spiritual development, you begin to understand that being ignored means your essence is not being felt. Your energy is scattered, your presence diluted. But when you are aligned with your truth, even your silence speaks. Power is not found in dominance or approval. It is found in the quiet confidence that radiates from authenticity. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." And this is where the secret lies. People cannot ignore what is real. When you embody your true self with awareness and integrity, you no longer seek validation, because your presence itself becomes undeniable. Those who chase love often lose themselves, but those who cultivate inner power draw respect and loyalty effortlessly. Protecting your energy is not isolation. It is wisdom. It means choosing where to give your attention and refusing to let emotional noise dictate your state of being. You observe without reacting, respond without ego, and move strategically through life with spiritual awareness. Machiavelli's wisdom becomes complete only when fused with Jung's, when outer strategy meets inner mastery. To never be ignored is to live with purpose so clear that even in your absence, your energy lingers. It means controlling your narrative, not by force, but through alignment between mind, heart, and soul. The moment you accept yourself entirely, as Jung advised, you dissolve the illusion of needing to be seen, and paradoxically, the world begins to notice. You cannot be ignored when your actions, words, and silence all carry intention. This is not arrogance, but awareness, not manipulation, but presence. When you merge psychological strength with spiritual wisdom, you become untouchable in the purest sense. You stop chasing visibility because your light becomes impossible to dim. The ultimate message is simple. Never beg for recognition. Move with calm authority. Speak with integrity. And let your vibration announce you before your words do. Control perception. Protect your peace. And walk in your truth so powerfully that the universe itself takes notice. That is the essence of true spiritual development. The art of being seen without seeking, of being heard without speaking, and of never being ignored because your energy has become your legacy. True power begins the moment you understand how the human mind truly works, not as society pretends it does, but as Carl Jung and the great thinkers of history revealed it to be. What you've learned today isn't just knowledge. It's a key to transformation. Use it to master your emotions, your perception, and your destiny. If this message awakens something within you, remember to like this video, share it with those who seek deeper truth, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom. Turn on the notification bell so you won't miss our upcoming explorations into the hidden depths of the human soul. Say these 5 things every morning. Carl Jung's secret to unshakable power. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Carl Jung. Every morning, your words either shape your destiny or repeat your past. What if the secret to unshakable power lies not in what happens to you, but in what you declare to yourself before the world even begins? In today's video, from Spiritual Wisdom, we'll uncover 5 transformative statements that align your mind, body, and soul with divine strength and inner peace. Which of these truths speaks to you most? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's begin this morning ritual of awakening together. 1. Morning is the golden hour to regenerate the mind. Morning is the golden hour to regenerate the mind, because in those first few minutes after waking, your brain naturally enters the alpha and theta states, the same frequencies linked to deep relaxation, healing, and subconscious reprogramming. This is when your mind is soft, open, and most receptive to suggestion. It's the doorway between the dream world and waking consciousness, where spirituality and spiritual awakening become more accessible. In this delicate state, every thought, every word, and every mental image acts like a command shaping your inner world. When you use this sacred window to repeat powerful beliefs, to affirm who you are becoming, or to visualize your future with clarity and calmness, you are not merely daydreaming. You are restructuring the architecture of your mind. Neuroscience now confirms what ancient mystics always understood. Through neuroplasticity, your brain constantly rewires itself, forming new pathways in response to repeated focus and intention. And because cortisol levels naturally rise in the morning, your mind becomes sharper, more alert, and ready to absorb what you feed it. By choosing empowering thoughts at sunrise, you transform this biological shift into a spiritual practice. You are teaching your subconscious who you wish to be. The process is not about forcing change, but allowing your higher self to guide your awareness gently toward alignment. When you awaken with purpose, your mind becomes like fertile soil, and the first seeds planted, whether words of faith, gratitude, or confidence, determine what will bloom throughout the day. This is how spiritual awakening begins, through small, conscious acts repeated in the stillness of dawn. It is not the loud affirmations that hold power, but the consistency of quiet conviction that rewrites your inner story. When practiced daily, this ritual strengthens your emotional resilience, focuses your energy, and harmonizes your thoughts with your spiritual essence. Carl Jung taught that transformation happens when the conscious mind communicates clearly with the unconscious. Morning is the precise moment this dialogue is easiest to access. As you rise, your waking self can whisper new instructions to the deeper mind, shaping your perception and behavior for the hours ahead. If you remind yourself that you are capable, guided, and connected to a higher force, your day begins from power rather than reaction. Each morning, you are offered a chance to return to your center, to replace doubt with faith, fear with clarity, and distraction with awareness. This isn't just positive thinking, it's spiritual science. It is the merging of mind, body, and soul into one coherent vibration that radiates stability and purpose. When you understand that your morning consciousness is the bridge between dreams and reality, you realize that those few quiet moments are not trivial. They are transformative. The words you speak to yourself then echo through the day, influencing decisions, emotions, and even the energy you emit. By awakening with presence and choosing your thoughts deliberately, you step into the role of creator, not victim. You align your psychology with your spirituality, and in doing so, you regenerate not just your mind, but your entire being. 2. Foundations of Stoic philosophy and modern psychology. These 5 affirmations draw their power from ancient Stoic philosophy taught by Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca, and from modern psychology, reminding you that every morning is an opportunity to reshape your inner world through deliberate thought. Because as Marcus Aurelius said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. And when you begin your day by choosing elevated thoughts, you set the tone for clarity, calmness, and intention. And although people often misunderstand Stoicism as emotional suppression, the truth is that Stoicism teaches emotional mastery, encouraging you to feel your emotions fully while refusing to let them control your actions. So as you speak these affirmations, you are grounding yourself in the understanding that emotions are signals, not dictators, and that real strength comes from learning how to respond with awareness instead of reacting from fear. Each affirmation becomes a tool that strengthens your spiritual development, because when you repeat them, you reinforce the neural pathways that support resilience, focus, and inner peace. And modern neuroscience confirms that the brain reorganizes itself based on repetition, which means every morning you speak these truths, you are literally training your mind to return to stability faster, to let go of unnecessary tension, and to move through challenges with greater composure. Stoicism teaches you that while you cannot control external events, you can always control the meaning you give them. And that single shift from external control to internal command is what transforms your entire life, allowing you to remain calm even when the world around you is unsettled. By grounding yourself in these teachings each morning, you remind yourself that peace is not something you chase. It is something you choose, because your emotional baseline is not determined by circumstances, but by the thoughts you consistently return to. And when you begin your day by affirming strength, clarity, and direction, you step into the world with a steady mind that cannot be easily shaken. These 5 affirmations also deepen your spirituality, because Stoicism is not just a philosophy, but a practice of inner alignment, teaching you to look inward for guidance, to treat each day as a new opportunity for growth, and to cultivate the kind of inner stillness that allows your highest self to lead instead of your fears. When you speak these affirmations, you are not merely saying words. You are choosing how your day will unfold. You are choosing the mindset you carry into your responsibilities, and you are choosing the energy you project into every interaction. The wisdom of Stoicism blends seamlessly with the insights of modern psychology to show you that inner peace is built through daily practice. Emotional strength develops through awareness, and spiritual awakening deepens when you take responsibility for the way you think, feel, and respond to life. 3. 5 morning truths to reframe your mind. Truth 1. I will encounter resistance today, and that's okay. This simple yet powerful truth holds the key to maintaining inner peace and emotional strength throughout the day. When you wake up and remind yourself of this, you are not inviting struggle. You are preparing your mind to meet life as it is. The moment you expect challenges, you take away their ability to surprise or overwhelm you. This is not about pessimism. It's about emotional readiness. As Marcus Aurelius once taught, the wise do not wish for life to be easy, but for themselves to be strong enough to face whatever comes. And Carl Jung's teachings align perfectly with this idea. He believed that resistance is not an obstacle, but a mirror, showing us the parts of ourselves that still need growth and balance. By anticipating difficulty, you rewire your nervous system to remain calm and focused even when chaos arises. You stop reacting impulsively and start responding consciously. Resistance, when seen through the lens of spirituality, becomes a teacher rather than an enemy. Each challenge, each misunderstanding, and each delay is not random. It is a message designed to expand your awareness and deepen your spiritual awakening. Life constantly tests your patience and your faith, but these tests are not meant to break you. They are meant to help you remember your strength. When you affirm that encountering resistance is perfectly okay, you shift from fear to acceptance, from anxiety to clarity, from avoidance to transformation. Spiritual wisdom reminds us that real power is not found in escaping difficulty, but in meeting it with grace. The next time frustration visits you, instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" try asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" In that single shift of perception, you turn resistance into growth and pain into purpose. The more you embrace resistance, the more grounded you become, because your mind learns that peace is not the absence of problems, it is the presence of strength. This mindset, practiced daily, trains you to walk through the world with quiet confidence, no longer shaken by what used to intimidate you. You stop wishing for an easier day and begin creating a stronger you. This is the foundation of spiritual awakening, realizing that life's resistance is sacred in disguise. It sculpts your character, purifies your emotions, and aligns your inner world with divine timing. Every morning that you repeat this truth, you remind your soul that nothing outside of you can dictate your peace. The storms may come, but you are no longer afraid of them. You have already made peace with their presence. This calm acceptance, this ability to stay grounded in the middle of life's turbulence, is what gives you unshakable power. Truth 2. I can't control everything, but I can control how I show up. This simple truth, first taught by the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, lies at the core of both ancient wisdom and modern psychology. He believed that while the world outside you may be unpredictable, your inner world, your attitudes, your choices, and your actions always belongs to you. Carl Jung echoed this in his teachings on spirituality and spiritual development, reminding us that true strength is not found in trying to dominate circumstances, but in mastering one's own responses to them. Life will test you with uncertainty, chaos, and people who do not act as you expect. Yet the way you rise to meet these moments defines your power, not the circumstances themselves. Modern psychology confirms this truth through the concept known as the locus of control. Those with an internal locus of control who believe their happiness, peace, and growth come from how they respond, not from what happens, are proven to be more resilient and fulfilled. When you wake up every morning and remind yourself, I can't control everything, but I can control how I show up, you are consciously choosing spiritual alignment over emotional chaos. You begin to separate what's yours to carry from what isn't, focusing your energy on what truly matters. This is where real transformation begins, when you stop wasting energy fighting what's beyond you and start nurturing what's within you. Think about how often you lose peace trying to fix or predict everything around you. The traffic, the job, the people, the opinions, they are all external forces, temporary and unstable. But your inner state, your discipline, your ability to stay calm, kind, and clear, that is sacred ground. Spirituality is not about controlling life's storms. It's about learning how to stand still within them. Every time you take a deep breath instead of reacting, every time you choose gratitude instead of complaint, every time you pause before judgment, you strengthen your spiritual muscles and deepen your spiritual development. Carl Jung once said, "The most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely." When you learn to accept that control is an illusion, except over your own behavior, you begin to embody self-mastery. You stop being a victim of circumstances and start becoming a conscious creator of your experience. Each morning, by affirming this truth, you train your mind to return to its rightful place of power within. You start to see life not as something that happens to you, but as something that responds to the energy you bring. And that shift changes everything. So stop trying to control life. Start mastering your presence. The universe will always move in ways you cannot predict, but your steadiness, your compassion, and your focus are your anchors. When you choose to show up with courage and awareness each day, you align with your higher self and open the door to true freedom. Remember, peace doesn't come from a life without challenges. It comes from your ability to stay centered despite them. So tomorrow morning, say it again. I can't control everything, but I can control how I show up. Let that sentence be your mantra, your morning prayer, your quiet rebellion against chaos. It is in this daily choice that your spirituality deepens, your spiritual development unfolds, and your power becomes unshakable. Truth 3. I am not my thoughts. I am the one who thinks them. When you affirm this third truth, I am not my thoughts. I am the one who thinks them. You step into a deeper realm of spiritual wisdom that Carl Jung considered essential for true self-mastery. Because the moment you separate who you are from what your mind produces, the entire inner landscape begins to shift in your favor. Your brain creates fear, doubt, and hesitation, not because something is wrong with you, but because its ancient purpose is survival, scanning for threats and preparing you for danger. Yet Jung reminded us that thinking is difficult. That's why most people judge, meaning your thoughts often react before your awareness awakens. So you must learn to stand above them rather than collapse beneath them. When you say to yourself each morning, I am not my thoughts, you reclaim the position of the observer, the chooser, the one who decides what deserves attention, and this shift alone begins dissolving the emotional chains that fear and old narratives have wrapped around you for so long. And as you let this truth live inside you, you begin practicing what psychologists call cognitive distancing, the simple but powerful act of watching your thoughts without automatically believing them. Instead of treating every fearful idea as a prophecy or every doubt as a warning, you observe them the way you would watch waves on the ocean. They rise, they fall, they pass. You start noticing that a thought like, I am not enough, is not a fact, but merely a habit of the mind, a leftover echo from childhood wounds, social pressure, or past experiences. When you stand back and witness your thoughts instead of absorbing them, anxiety softens, your breathing deepens, and your emotional balance returns because you are no longer drowning in the story you are reading from above. Calm and awake. Jung explained this beautifully when he said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. Reminding you that thoughts only control you when you do not recognize them as thoughts. Through this daily practice, fear loses its authority over you because you no longer confuse the presence of fear with the truth of fear. Doubt loses its sharpness because you understand it comes from an overprotective mind, not from your actual potential. Negative thinking begins to fade because you are no longer feeding it with belief or attention. You begin to feel a new inner spaciousness, a sense of being grounded, centered, and free to choose what kind of energy you carry into your day. This is the heart of spiritual development, the point where you realize your inner self is not fragile, but powerful, not reactive, but intentional, not chaotic, but deeply aware. And the more consistently you return to this truth, the more you transform the inner dialogue that once drained you into a source of strength, clarity, and self-trust. Eventually, you reach a place where, even when the mind generates fear, you can say, this is just a thought. When doubt whispers, you respond, this is only a pattern. When your inner critic tries to rise again, you can meet it with steadiness and say, I decide who I am. And with every repetition of this truth, you strengthen the inner witness that Carl Jung believed was the core of personal awakening. the part of you capable of choosing peace over panic, direction over distraction, and awareness over autopilot. This is how you step into your day, not as a prisoner of your thoughts, but as the thinker who shapes them, the aware being who guides them, and the awakened soul who refuses to hand over your power to passing mental noise ever again. Truth 4. I am grateful for everything I have. When you wake up and quietly say, I am grateful for everything I have, you are not just repeating words, you are performing a powerful act of consciousness. Seneca once said, nothing is more precious than a grateful heart. And this ancient truth still carries the same weight in modern spirituality and spiritual awakening. Gratitude is not a form of weakness or naivety. It is one of the most transformative psychological and spiritual practices you can embody. When you express gratitude, your brain releases dopamine and serotonin, the same chemicals that create joy, motivation, and inner peace. In that moment, your body begins to relax, your mind begins to open, and your heart remembers that abundance is already here. Gratitude is an anchor. It roots your awareness in the present moment and shifts your attention away from what's missing to what's already given. You stop chasing after what you think you need and start recognizing how much beauty already surrounds you. Carl Jung taught that transformation begins when we change our inner attitude, and gratitude is the simplest way to do that. By focusing on what is good, even in small ways, you reprogram your subconscious to expect harmony instead of chaos, to see light instead of darkness. Every time you say, I am grateful, you send a signal to your nervous system that you are safe, supported, and guided. Gratitude rewires perception. It sharpens your ability to notice grace in ordinary things. The warmth of sunlight, the sound of laughter, the comfort of a quiet morning. It helps you see that even your pain has purpose, that even loss carries lessons, and that every closed door is protecting you or redirecting you towards something meant for you. Gratitude changes the frequency of your energy, making you magnetic to experiences that mirror your appreciation. In spirituality, this is known as vibrational alignment, the moment when what you feel internally begins to shape what you attract externally. The more you practice this truth, the more your world begins to shift. Sleep improves because your mind stops replaying what's wrong. Optimism rises because you learn to trust the unseen rhythm of life. Your immune system strengthens because your body is no longer trapped in constant defense. Gratitude becomes your invisible armor, protecting your peace in moments of uncertainty. It doesn't mean you ignore pain. It means you meet it with wisdom. You start to see challenges as opportunities for deeper awareness, and every breath becomes a silent prayer of thanks. Saying, I am grateful for everything I have, each morning teaches you to look at life through the eyes of wholeness rather than lack. It's not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about realizing that even in imperfection, there is perfection. Gratitude connects the heart and the mind, turning daily routine into sacred ritual. It's the moment your soul whispers, I have enough. I am enough. And when you live from that space, abundance, clarity, and peace naturally follow. This is not mere positivity. It is power. The kind of power Carl Jung spoke of, born not from control, but from awareness, from a heart that knows everything it needs is already here. Truth 5. Life is short. I am not sure There will be another dawn. These words are not meant to fill you with fear, but to wake you up from spiritual sleep. Inspired by Memento Mori, remember that you will die. This truth is a doorway to deep clarity and purpose. When you truly understand the brevity of life, every morning becomes sacred. You stop wasting your energy on meaningless conflicts, and you start aligning your actions with your highest values. Spirituality is not about escaping death. It is about living so consciously that death no longer terrifies you. Each sunrise is a reminder that you have been given one more chance to love deeply, to act wisely, and to walk in alignment with your soul's calling. So when you open your eyes tomorrow, do not rush into your tasks. Pause and ask yourself, if today were my last day, would I be proud of how I lived it? Let that question burn softly within you. Let it reorder your priorities. You will begin to see that most of what causes you stress is temporary and meaningless in the grand scheme. The noise fades, and what remains are your relationships, your integrity, and your growth. In the light of mortality, clarity blooms. You become more honest, more courageous, more present. This is the essence of spiritual development, stripping away illusions until only truth remains. Contemplating your own impermanence will not make you morbid. It will make you alive. When you realize that time is limited, you will stop postponing joy and start living intentionally. You will speak the words you've been holding back, forgive faster, and love deeper. You will pursue what nourishes your soul rather than what feeds your ego. Spirituality is not found in endless seeking, but in simple awareness that every breath, every heartbeat, and every choice is precious. Remember, power does not come from controlling life. It comes from aligning with its impermanence. That is the secret Carl Jung hinted at. When you stop fighting time, you find timelessness within. By facing the truth of mortality, you transcend it. The wise do not fear death. They let it shape their priorities, refine their purpose, and deepen their gratitude. And as you move through your day with this awareness, you will notice a quiet strength rising inside you, a calm that nothing external can disturb. So, let this truth live in your heart. Life is fleeting, but meaning is eternal. Ask yourself often, if this were my last dawn, would I be proud? If the answer is yes, continue. If the answer is no, change course now. This daily reflection is not just a habit, it is a form of prayer, a practice of presence, and the foundation of true spirituality. When you learn to live as if each day were your last, you begin to live as your highest self, free, awake, and aligned with the rhythm of your soul. 4. Practice 7-day morning reset ritual. This 7-day morning reset ritual is designed to anchor your mind in clarity and inner strength from the very first moments of the day, because the way you speak to yourself each morning determines the tone of your spirituality, your focus, and the depth of your spiritual awakening throughout the rest of your day. The practice begins with something simple yet profoundly intentional, writing down 5 affirmations that reflect the mindset, identity, and energy you want to strengthen. These are not just positive statements. They are declarations that shape your internal world before external noise begins to interfere. When you put these 5 affirmations on paper, you signal to your subconscious mind that you are choosing awareness over autopilot, choosing discipline over distraction, and choosing growth over stagnation. This first step already shifts your energy. because writing activates the mind in a deeper way than thinking alone, helping your subconscious recognize these affirmations as truths instead of empty phrases. Once your 5 affirmations are written, you take a few slow, grounding breaths to calm the nervous system and open the mind. These breaths are not just a pause. They are the doorway that prepares your inner world to receive the messages you are about to repeat. After breathing, you read each affirmation aloud 10 times. This repetition is the core of the ritual, because repetition is what reprograms the subconscious. And as Carl Jung taught, the subconscious is the invisible architect that shapes your reactions, your emotions, your choices, and the hidden patterns that guide your life. By repeating an affirmation 10 times, you push it beyond surface-level thought and into the deeper layers where your beliefs live, where identity is formed, and where true change begins. Speaking an affirmation once may inspire you temporarily, but speaking it 10 times trains your mind to believe it, embody it, and use it as a lens through which you interpret your day. As you continue this practice each morning for 7 days, you will begin to notice how each repetition makes the affirmations feel more natural, as if they are slowly shifting from hopes into truths. On some mornings, the words will feel powerful and empowering. On others, they may feel distant or challenging, but that contrast is part of the transformation. The affirmations work because they meet you exactly where you are and guide you gently toward the identity you are choosing to build. Over time, you may notice subtle changes. Your mood stabilizes more easily. Your reactions become more deliberate. Your focus sharpens, and your resilience grows. This happens because your subconscious, trained through daily repetition, begins to act like an internal compass, helping you stay aligned with your intentions even when life becomes noisy or unpredictable. This 7-day ritual is not just about affirmations. It is about claiming the first moments of your day before the world claims them for you. It is about choosing alignment before pressure, choosing inner grounding before outer demands, and choosing deliberate consciousness before the day has the chance to pull you into chaos. When practiced consistently, this ritual strengthens your spiritual discipline, deepens your spirituality, and supports your ongoing spiritual awakening by reminding you daily that you are not a passive participant in your life, but an active creator of your inner experience. Through writing, breathing, and repeating your 5 affirmations 10 times each morning, you teach your mind to work with you instead of against you, allowing your days to unfold with more clarity, strength, and intentional direction. In the end, these 5 simple morning statements are not just words. They are daily acts of alignment, reminders of who you are becoming, and anchors that help you step into your power with clarity and intention. As Carl Jung taught, the thoughts you choose to repeat shape the reality you live. And when you begin your day with purpose, your entire life begins to transform. If this message resonated with you, please like this video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe to Spiritual Wisdom. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Your journey to unshakable power starts every morning. Keep choosing it.